They say life after 70 is lonely. But what if I told you that's not true? Think about it. Society constantly tells us that we need friends to be happy, that without a social circle, we will feel empty and alone. But what if this idea is outdated? What if, after 70, the best thing you can do for yourself is embrace independence? Let's be real. Many friendships are not as fulfilling as we think. Yes, some friends are great, but others, they drain our energy, bring stress, and create unnecessary drama. Some friendships fade with time, and we feel guilty for not keeping in touch. But you don't need a large group of friends to live a happy life. Look at some of the happiest people in the world. Many of them have learned to love their own company. They have found joy in their routines, hobbies, and simple moments rather than depending on others for happiness. In this video, we'll explore 6 life-changing reasons why you don't need friends after 70. And trust me, by the end, you'll start seeing solitude as a gift, not a burden. And the best part? Embracing independence might actually make you happier, healthier, and more at peace than you've ever been before. Before we dive in, make sure to subscribe if you enjoy content about living a happier, stress-free life. It really helps me grow and keep you updated with more valuable insights. Now, let's talk about the biggest fear most people have: being alone. Is it really as scary as we think? Since childhood, we've been told that humans are social creatures, that being alone is unnatural, that it leads to sadness and depression. But is that really true? When we're young, friendships are a huge part of life. We go to school with our friends, we spend weekends with them, we celebrate birthdays together. But as we grow older, friendships change. People move away, start families, get busy with work, or develop different interests. By the time we reach 70, many of us have already lost touch with most of our old friends. Some have passed away, others have drifted apart, and suddenly we feel this pressure, as if we have failed because we don't have a big social circle anymore. But let me ask you, have you ever been surrounded by people yet still felt completely alone? Have you ever forced yourself to go to a gathering and ended up wishing you were home instead? Loneliness isn't about how many friends you have. It's about how you feel inside. Some people have dozens of friends and still feel empty. Others have no friends but feel completely at peace. If you've ever felt pressured to keep friendships just because society says so, comment 1 below. If you believe happiness is possible without a big social circle, comment 2. A woman named Margaret once shared her story. She was 75 and had always been part of a close friend group. But as time passed, those friendships started feeling like a burden. The constant phone calls, the unnecessary drama, the feeling of obligation. She realized that her social life wasn't making her happy, so she slowly distanced herself and focused on her own happiness. And guess what? She felt free. She started painting, reading, traveling alone, and enjoying life without worrying about what others thought. For the first time, she wasn't living for others. She was living for herself. So, ask yourself this: do you really fear being alone, or do you fear what society tells you about being alone? And what if the truth is the complete opposite? What if being alone after 70 is actually a blessing? Let's explore why. 1. Freedom from social pressure and obligations. Have you ever been in a friendship that felt like a chore? Think about it. Friendships come with expectations. You have to remember birthdays, answer calls, attend gatherings, even when you don't feel like it. At 70, do you really want to spend your energy on social obligations that don't bring you happiness? A man named Robert once said, "The best thing I ever did was stop caring about what others expected of me. I used to feel guilty for skipping events. Now I do what I want, and I've never been happier." When you stop prioritizing friendships that don't serve you, you gain freedom. You no longer have to pretend to enjoy things you don't. You don't have to force conversations. You can simply live your life on your own terms. Now, some people might say, "But I enjoy my friendships." And that's great. Good friendships are valuable. But if maintaining a social life is causing you stress, maybe it's time to ask, am I keeping these friendships because they make me happy, or because I feel I have to? Because the truth is, you don't have to do anything. And once you embrace that, life becomes so much easier. But if you think freedom from social expectations is powerful, wait until you hear the next reason. 2. Less emotional stress and drama. Let's be honest, not all friendships are healthy. Some friendships bring more stress than happiness. You know the kind, the friend who always complains but never listens. The friend who expects you to always be available. The friend who makes you feel guilty for not keeping in touch. Do you really need that energy in your life? A study on aging and happiness found that as people grow older, they become more selective about relationships. And guess what? Those who cut out stressful friendships reported feeling happier and more at peace. Jane, a 72-year-old retiree, shared her experience. "I had a friend who always called to gossip. Every time we talked, I felt drained. One day, I decided to stop answering her calls. At first, I felt guilty, but then I realized I felt lighter, happier. Cutting that friendship was the best thing I ever did." The older we get, the less energy we have for unnecessary drama. And that's okay. Instead of spending time on toxic relationships, we can spend time on ourselves. And that's where the real magic happens. Because once you remove emotional stress, you gain something even more valuable: time for self-discovery. 3. More time for self-discovery and personal growth. Have you ever wanted to try something new but felt like life got in the way? Maybe you always wanted to learn to play the piano. Maybe you dreamed of writing a book. Maybe you wanted to travel somewhere new, but responsibilities held you back. Guess what? Now is the time. After 70, life finally gives you freedom. Freedom from work, raising kids, or keeping up with social expectations. But many people don't take advantage of this because they're afraid of being alone. Why self-discovery matters. Many of us spend our whole lives being busy. We are busy being parents, employees, caregivers, or friends. But how much time do we spend getting to know ourselves? Now that you have time, you can finally explore your passions. Think about great thinkers, artists, and writers. Many of them embraced solitude. Leonardo da Vinci spent years working alone, creating his masterpieces. Albert Einstein often took long walks alone to think. Maya Angelou rented a small hotel room just to write in peace. They weren't lonely. They were focused. Richard, a 74-year-old retired teacher, always wanted to paint. But for years, he told himself he was too busy with work and family. When he finally had time, he felt nervous. "Won't I be lonely?" he thought, but he gave it a try. He bought some art supplies and started painting every morning. Soon, he realized something surprising. He felt happier than ever before. I thought I needed people around me to feel fulfilled. But when I started painting, I discovered I was enough. I don't need anyone to enjoy my day. I just need a brush, some colors, and my own imagination. This is the power of self-discovery. When you stop worrying about friendships, you make space for yourself. And that space is where true joy begins. If you've ever started a new hobby or learned something new after 70, comment after 70 below and share your experience. And did you know that spending more time alone can also improve your health? Let's talk about that next. 4. Health and longevity. Why independence is good for you. Most people assume that being alone is bad for your health. But the truth is, the wrong kind of socializing is what's harmful. Studies show that toxic friendships increase stress, which weakens your immune system. Constant social obligations can lead to anxiety and depression. Being alone, in a positive way, reduces stress and increases life satisfaction. This means that solitude isn't bad. Forced socializing is. A study by Harvard University followed people for 80 years to see what made them happiest. The results? It wasn't the number of friends, it was the quality of relationships. People who had peaceful, low-stress lives lived longer and healthier than those who were always involved in social drama. Helen was 78 when she decided to move into a quiet cottage near the countryside. She had spent most of her life surrounded by social groups, but she always felt mentally drained. At first, her friends thought she was making a mistake. "You'll be lonely," they warned her. But Helen trusted her instincts. She started gardening, cooking, and enjoying her own company. Within months, she noticed a change. Her blood pressure went down, her sleep improved, and she felt calmer. "I spent so many years worrying about friendships, but when I let them go, I found the best friend I never appreciated, myself." Think about that. Could spending more time alone actually make you healthier? The evidence says yes. If you believe that stress affects health, comment stress below. And here's next powerful truth. When you stop chasing friendships, you strengthen the relationships that actually matter. 5. Stronger family and selective relationships. Instead of maintaining many friendships, what if you focused on just a few meaningful relationships? Many elderly people spend time keeping up with acquaintances but neglect the people who truly care, like their children, grandchildren, or close relatives. Imagine this. You spend years attending social events, keeping up with friendships, but when you truly need support, who shows up? Often, it's not those casual friends, but family members or lifelong close connections. Why fewer, deeper connections matter more? Having too many friendships can sometimes feel like a job. You're constantly catching up, checking in, and remembering details about people's lives. But how often do those friendships truly add value to your life? A study from the American Journal of Geriatric Psychiatry found that elderly people who focused on fewer but stronger relationships experienced lower levels of depression and higher life satisfaction. So, instead of maintaining many friendships out of obligation, why not spend time nurturing the relationships that truly matter? Tom, a retired 72-year-old, spent most of his life in social clubs. He had plenty of friends, but never felt truly close to anyone. Then, one day, his granddaughter asked him, "Grandpa, why don't we ever spend time together?" That hit him hard. He realized he had spent so much energy on friendships that he barely made time for his own family. So, he made a change. He stopped worrying about social groups and started spending quality time with his granddaughter. teaching her how to fish, telling her stories, and being present. I used to think happiness came from having a big social life, but I found real joy in spending time with my family. Tom learned something important. When you stop chasing connections, you strengthen the ones that truly matter. Have you ever lost touch with close family because you were too busy keeping up with social obligations? If yes, comment family below. And this brings us to the most important point of all. 6. True peace and contentment. The power of solitude. What if the best friend you'll ever have is yourself? When you stop relying on others for happiness, you finally discover inner peace. Think about the great philosophers, writers, and wise elders throughout history. Most of them spoke about the power of solitude. Buddha found enlightenment through silence and meditation. Henry David Thoreau lived alone in the woods and found peace. The happiest people in the world aren't those with the most friends. They are the ones who have learned to enjoy their own company. Real-life example. Sarah's story. Sarah, 76, had always been a social butterfly, but after losing a few friends, she felt lost. One day, she decided to stop waiting for company and start enjoying life on her own. She went on solo walks, started journaling, and took herself out for coffee. Slowly, she realized something surprising. She didn't feel lonely anymore. I always thought I needed people to be happy, but once I embraced solitude, I found peace. If you've ever felt truly content while spending time alone, comment 3 below. If you're still learning to enjoy solitude, comment 4. Now that you know why you don't need friends after 70, here's how to enjoy independence to the fullest. 1. Start a new hobby: painting, gardening, writing, or anything you love. 2. Take care of your health. Exercise, eat well, and sleep properly. 3. Enjoy small moments: walks in nature, music, or meditation. 4. Strengthen close relationships. Spend quality time with family. Your best years are not behind you. They are just beginning. So, do you really need friends after 70? The answer is no. Instead of fearing loneliness, embrace solitude. Instead of chasing friendships, chase peace. Let's recap the 6 reasons why you don't need friends after 70. Freedom from social pressure. No more forced conversations or obligations, less emotional stress, no more unnecessary drama or toxic friendships, more time for self-discovery. This is your chance to explore your passions. Better health and longevity. Independence reduces stress and increases well-being. Stronger family connections. Focus on those who truly care. True peace and contentment. Happiness comes from within, not from others. The best relationship you'll ever have is the one you have with yourself. Now, I want to hear from you. Do you agree with this? Comment yes if you believe independence is key to happiness. Comment no if you think friendships are still important. And if you found this video helpful, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more content on living a happier, independent life. See you in the next video.